The bar went silent the second he walked in. Not because anyone recognized his face, but because of the way he moved. Like the floor belonged to him. Like every one of the 200 people inside Small's Paradise was just furniture waiting to be pushed aside. Like the night itself owed him respect. That walk was a statement, and in Harlem, statements like that had consequences. His name was Vincent, the Iceman Toro, Al Capone's enforcer from Chicago, and before this night was over, he was going to learn a lesson no amount of bloodshed had ever taught him. It was October 14th, 1952. A Tuesday night. Harlem was alive but not loud. Jazz drifted lazily from open windows, mixing with the smell of fried chicken, perfume, and cigarette smoke. Small's Paradise was packed wall to wall. Musicians, hustlers, businessmen, politicians, men and women who understood one unspoken rule. Respect was currency here. This respect was a death sentence. Vincent didn't know that yet. He wore a tailored navy suit, gold cufflinks catching the light, shoes polished so clean they reflected the room. 3 men followed closely behind him, pure Chicago muscle. No effort to hide the bulges under their jackets. The guns were meant to be seen. Vincent moved through the crowd like Moses parting the Red Sea. People stepped aside not out of respect, but confusion, because in Harlem, only one man walked like that, and Vincent Toro was not that man. He reached the bar and snapped his fingers, sharp and impatient, like he was calling a dog, bourbon, the good stuff, and make it fast. The bartender, Jackson, a man who'd been pouring drinks in Harlem since 1935, didn't move. He just stared. Vincent leaned forward. "You deaf?" Jackson's voice was calm but firm. "Careful, sir. I don't care what you get me a drink." That was when the music stopped. Not because the band chose to pause, because they felt the shift, that electric moment when everyone knows something bad is about to happen. Vincent noticed the silence and turned around. 200 eyes locked onto him. Not afraid, not impressed. Something else. Something heavier. He smirked and turned back to the bar. "What's the problem? You people don't serve Italians here." 2 words. You people. In that moment, Vincent Toro sealed his fate. Jackson slowly set the glass down. "Sir, you should leave right now." Vincent laughed. His bodyguards laughed with him. "Or what? You gonna call the cops?" "We own the cops in Chicago." Finish that sentence. The voice came from the back corner of the room. Deep, calm, controlled. The kind of voice that didn't need volume to command attention. Vincent turned, and for the first time that night, his smile disappeared. Bumpy Johnson sat in his usual booth. Simple grey suit. No flashy jewelry. No fedora. Just a man in his mid-40s with streaks of grey at his temples and eyes that looked like they'd already seen the devil and weren't impressed. 4 men sat with him. Not muscle. Legends. Men who had survived wars with Dutch Schultz, Lucky Luciano, and every gangster who had ever tried to take Harlem. Bumpy slowly stood up. Not rushed. Not hesitant. Like a king who had grown tired of watching peasants play games. "I said." Finish that sentence. Vincent's jaw tightened. His bodyguard shifted, hands inching toward their weapons. Bumpy walked forward. "Steady. Inevitable." "Yeah, I've got a problem," he said. "You walked into my neighborhood. You disrespected my bartender. You used words that don't get used here. And now you're standing in my bar acting like you're somebody." Vincent straightened his shoulders. "You know who I am." Bumpy stopped. No, that single word hit harder than any insult. Vincent Toro had killed 14 men, broken strikes, burned buildings, made neighborhoods bow. And this man didn't even know his name. "I work for Al Capone." Bumpy took another step closer. Close enough to smell the expensive cologne. Close enough to see the sweat forming. "AI. Capone's in prison. And you were too." Vincent shot back. "You're old now. Times change. Old men get forgotten." The room held its breath. Bumpy smiled, but not warmly. It was the smile of a man who had already decided how this would end. "You came here to test me." Vincent didn't answer. "And what do you see?" Bumpy asked. Vincent glanced around. "An old man, old friends, an old bar." "Then you're blind." Bumpy stepped closer. "You made 3 mistakes tonight." Vincent's voice was cold. "Yeah." "What mistakes?" "First, you thought respect comes from age. It doesn't. It comes from loyalty. Every person in this room would die for me. Not because I pay them. Because I've bled for them." "Can you say that about the 3 men behind you?" Silence. "Second, you thought Harlem was like Chicago. In Chicago, you rule with fear. Here, you rule with trust. And you just lost the trust of everyone in this room." Bumpy's voice dropped almost to a whisper. Yet somehow everyone heard it. And the third mistake. He raised his hand, just a simple gesture, and that's when everything changed. The bartender reached under the counter and pulled out a sort-of shotgun. The piano player casually opened the instrument and revealed a 45. Two waiters dropped their trays, both armed. The four men in Bumpy's booth stood up, weapons already drawn. Then more. A woman in a red dress 3 tables away, gun. A man by the window reading a newspaper, gun. A couple in the corner who had been kissing, both armed. The cook stepped out of the kitchen with a shotgun. In less than 5 seconds, 23 weapons were aimed directly at Vincent Toro and his crew. The room was silent, except for the sound of hammers cocking. Vincent's face went pale. His hand froze inches from his gun. Bumpy stepped closer. Now they were barely 2 feet apart. "You came here to see if the legend was real," Bumpy said calmly. "So let me show you something real." He gestured to the crowd. "These people aren't my soldiers. They're teachers, janitors, musicians, mothers, fathers, regular people. But when someone disrespects Harlem, when someone walks in here, acting like we're nothing, they become something else. An army." Vincent swallowed hard. "You've got a choice," Bumpy continued. "You can try to shoot your way out. Maybe you kill me. Maybe you kill 5 of us. But you'll never reach that door. Your bodies will end up in the river. No one will mourn you. Capone will read about it and understand you broke the rules." Bumpy paused, letting the word settle. "Or you can do something right now that saves your life. Something that sends a message back to Chicago. Back to every man who thinks Harlem is weak." Vincent's voice cracked. "What?" Bumpy smiled. "You're going to get on your knees." The words hit like a punch to the chest. "Right here," Bumpy said, "in front of everyone. You're going to kneel. You're going to apologize. And then you're going to leave and never come back." "I'm not. Or you're going to die. You've got 10 seconds. Bumpy didn't count. He didn't need to, because in that moment, Vincent Toro understood something he never had before. Power wasn't about guns. It was about who people were willing to die for. 23 people were willing to die for Bumpy Johnson. 0 were willing to die for Vincent Toro. His knees buckled. Slowly, publicly, he collapsed onto the wooden floor. The sound echoed through the room. "Apologize," Bumpy said. "I apologize," Vincent whispered. Louder. "I apologize," Vincent said, his voice breaking, "for disrespecting this community. This bar. You." Bumpy looked down at him. No triumph. No joy. Just cold calculation. "Stand up." Vincent did, shaking with humiliation. Bumpy leaned in and whispered, "When you get back to Chicago, you tell them what happened. You tell them Harlem isn't for sale. And the next man won't get a choice." Vincent left that night alive, but broken, and Harlem stood untouched for the next 16 years. Because kings don't celebrate victories, they prepare for the next test.